Hello everybody, welcome to this second video that I'm doing about 2020 and what's happening astrologically. My name is Noel Garcia and I'm an astrologer, and I'm also an Ayurveda practitioner. And so I'm here to talk to you then today in more detail about a change of era. A change of era that I think is very important to understand, as the end of this year is going to be particularly interesting. Um, Basically, what is happening is that Jupiter and Saturn are coming together at the end of this year. That means a conjunction in astrology, and that happens every 20 years. The thing is that for the last 200 years, these conjunctions of Jupiter and Saturn have happened in Earth signs. And that means that we've lived in a period which was very much connected to the Earth element as a symbol. And that means anything material. So construction, houses, and material wealth were very important, and it has determined the last 200 years. And as we've seen with the Industrial Revolution from back in the 1800s all the way to the present day, it's all been about development, but development based on more and better use of material resources. Now, in December, 21st of December 2020, this conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn is going to happen in Aquarius. And it's on winter solstice, which makes it even more powerful. And Aquarius is an air sign. And for the next 200 years, basically, this conjunction is going to happen in air signs. So it means that we're moving from an Earth period to a air period. And so what does air period mean? An air period is a period where there's going to be lots of communication, where it's going to be all about technology, where it's going to be about exchanging ideas as opposed to exchanging goods. So globalization is going to continue, but it's going to be a globalization of ideas, not just goods. Like we've seen, for example, in the Black Lives Matter movement, where there's been a revolt in the US, and that has spread all over the world. So ideas will spread more and more and more, obviously thanks to the internet, thanks to the media, thanks to the social media as well. But it's definitely going to be more an ideas focused society. It's important to understand this because and just to give you a bit of background about Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter and Saturn are very important in astrology because they determine how societies are structured. And when you look at them, when you look at where Saturn and Jupiter conjunctions usually happen, they determine the theme and the big picture of the next 20 years. So all astrologers look at this conjunction since thousands of years. And when we look at the symbology of Saturn and Jupiter, it's quite interesting because Jupiter is about ideas, is about philosophies, religions, the research, the knowledge, the wisdom, and all that knowledge which is out there, which has been researched, which has been found, which has been acquired, all those ideas. So Jupiter symbolizes all of that, which is very abstract, which is very up there. And Saturn represents the material application. That's why Saturn is considered the god of agriculture, because it's about material application of ideas and of methods. So Jupiter is bringing the ideas and the methods and the way things should be, and Saturn brings the application of that. So when they come together in a particular sign, that means that those ideas of that sign, those ideas, those philosophies of that sign are going to be implemented and put into practice. So when we look at Saturn and Jupiter from a point of view of Aquarius, which is where this next conjunction is going to be, is quite interesting because, like I was saying, Aquarius is air, but it's not just air. It means Aquarius is a sign that is first and foremost progressive. So we're going to move away from traditional societies to more progressive societies. And we've seen in the world in the last few years that there's been a rise of conservative forces sometimes in certain countries. I think that we're going to be moving more and more towards progressive forces. Why? Because this coronavirus crisis is forcing us to do things together. That's another theme of Aquarius. Aquarius is collective, is humanitarian. And Aquarius wants us to care for the whole humanity. Is the opposite sign from Leo, which is very individualistic. Now Aquarius is the group matters. It's not anymore the individual matters, but the group matters. And this is the hard shift, maybe perhaps more for Western societies that have been very individualistic focused. That's why perhaps the US has been difficult to adapt and to perhaps control the pandemic, because those countries which have a more collective focus, they don't have a problem in staying at home for others, that people that they don't know. But societies which are very individualistic, they say, well, it's my right to go out and work and live my life. So there is going to be much more difficult to control a pandemic. So it's very interesting to see how actually the more collective and cooperative we are, the better it seems like it would work out in this crisis. Also, Aquarius is rebellious, and Aquarius loves to bring new ideas to the table, and radical ideas, and even organized revolutions. So I wouldn't be surprised if things get really bad, which seems like in the next 6 months is gonna, with, like I was saying in my previous video, Saturn moving into Capricorn again. It's gonna get more difficult. We're gonna relive, perhaps in some way, shape, or form, that March period of 2020 that was not very nice. So there is a possibility of rebellious ideas happening, and Aquarius also is about technology. Technology is going to be very, very important in the next 20-year period and even beyond. As you've seen, the companies that are doing well, the sectors that are doing well through this coronavirus crisis is or are anything related to technology. So I would say that's a sector that's good to focus on, good to stay close to, good to move towards, and I would recommend to everybody to adopt technology as much as possible in their lives, because it's just going to become more and more technological. And as we've seen, like the young generations, they do it, and they use technology more and more and more. So we need to use it and make the most of it. It's here to stay, and we cannot just keep on delaying using technology and making the most of it. And that's why I started doing these videos, because otherwise I can't get all these messages out. So technology is a theme. So we are also, Aquarius is about flatter societies and less hierarchical. So Capricorn, which is the sign just before, and where Saturn is at the moment, well, it's going to enter from tomorrow again, or has been for the last 2 years, except for the last 2 months. Aquarius is much flatter, and Capricorn is a much more hierarchical. So an earth sign in general is hierarchical. Cities are hierarchical organizations where you have the tallest buildings is the more prestigious building, and that's going to be probably going to change with Aquarius. Aquarius likes flatter organizations. That's why technology companies are flat organizations, and traditional organizations like banks or any other organization, like in traditional sectors, are more hierarchical. So we're going to move to a world where flat organizations, where we're all on the same level, and we can talk to each other much more easily, and ideas flow, and bosses are not completely out of reach, and so on and so forth. Like, bosses will need to stay close to employees, and make them feel like there is a very flat organization, because that's what people are going to want. That's what people are going to be looking for when they join organizations. So it's important, this concept also of hierarchy and how that's going to change. Aquarius therefore brings and the air element, it brings a completely new world, which obviously is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some years. There's going to be some overlaps. It's going to be slow, but we're already with this crisis. I wanted to mention it because we can see that COVID-19 is accelerating all these changes, and we're going to move away from a world, a materialistic world, where what's valuable are ideas, and even beyond ideas is data. That's why technology now is all about data. So that's going to be the real asset of the future. It's not going to be any more houses or cars or land. It's going to be technology, data, novel ideas, which are going to be applied locally. So it's all going to be about this exchange of ideas. So that's what I wanted to share with you. This is just a short video. I'll be doing more videos about the topic, but I think it's quite important to bear in mind that we are at this junction at the moment, where we are moving from 200 years in Earth to 200 years in air, and therefore the more we align with the change, the easier the change will be. It's going to be painful, it's going to be difficult, yes, we know that, for many people, and it's not going to be easy, but we need to stay together, we need to cooperate, because that's the theme of the next 20 years at least, with Jupiter Saturn Conjunction happening in Aquarius. Okay, so that was all. Thank you very much. If you have any comments or suggestions, obviously let me know, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.